He is the founder and director of the Museum of Popular History, the Samanchon, as well as the manager of ILAW, a human rights organization working on legal reform and political freedom in Thailand. He began his career in 2013 as an officer of the Freedom of Expression Documentation Center at ILAW, and his main duty at the time was to observe political trials, especially Liz Majesty trial. And I think that's where we first met. I can't remember, but I think that's where we first met. He's also responsible for the writing of the annual Freedom of Expression situation reports and represents ILAW in diplomatic briefings and international advocacy missions. But he's here today as part of his work with the truly remarkable Museum of Popular History, which he founded in 2018 and which became a project of ILAW in 2023. While I will leave him to tell us about the museum, I just want to note that it is a remarkable initiative, documenting and disseminating the voices and experiences of the common people, and challenging what the meaning of the common people is as well. And I would say this is difficult everywhere, but maybe particularly difficult in Thailand. So he will speak today for roughly 45 minutes, and then we'll have a Q&A. And just a note on the recording, the only person who's seen in the recording is Anon and his screen. So don't worry if that it's being recorded. It's not recording you. So the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, we met some of the students like a couple of days ago, and we have a good time. But today I would like to talk about what I am doing in Thailand and what is my initiative. So my background was history, and the place that I like to visit the most is the museum. And Thailand is quite a but every time I visit a museum in Thailand, the other thing I observe is just like an old artifact that used in the royal ceremonial. And there was something about the common people like that, but it's like just a right thing. So down the line, when we start to like go more and more museums, there is a question in my mind: where is our political life in that museum? It was nowhere to be found. So that was in a nutshell, like that's how I start to collect things and then like start new projects in 2018. So to begin with, in Thailand we have like the education that you have to go through. You have to use a textbook, some textbook produced by the private company, some textbook produced by the Ministry of Education. And if you like take a look, if you can try with these many of you here can this type, you will see that a lot of stories in the textbook is dedicated to the ancient history. It's dedicated to how the king in the past built the kingdom, and later how the king built the nation. You might come across some of the name of the noble on the same king who's like a warrior and things like that. So that's where most of the stories in the textbook is dedicated for. But when it comes to the more recent event of history, if you go to the high school textbook, which I don't know, I started high school long time ago. But in my time, the story of the recent project was nowhere to be found. Or it might be mentioned like very few, like maybe just not even a paragraph, but just really just a sentence. So these two events, on the right side was the uprising in October 1917, where children and people come up on the street and protest against the general military and serve as a prime minister dictator. This story is quite remarkable, but imagine for the high school students, it is not in the textbook, or mentioned very short. That is something that always like came quite to me, that we were forced in the educational system, that we were forced to study something that was like happened like 400 years ago, which I don't really see the here. But the more recent event that related to our life nowadays, we don't really have a chance to study to
the normal education system. Students who invest in this higher institute, they have to like try to find a way to do their own study. Unfortunately, for many students, they were occupied in Thailand, they were occupied with their work and things. So at the end of the day, they decided to just go to sleep and not invest to do more like more research. And another thing is like on the left hand side, that was the incident that happened just 2 years after the incident in the right, right, that was the mass fire that happened on October 6, 1976 in the morning, where the students protest against the military regime at that time. Against the return of the prime minister who sent the country after the incident, so he tried to come back in Thailand. And during one of the activities that the student organized at Thammasat University, I call it like a Anon stage. So the student will perform like the incident that two university workers were found hand to death because he used to use the concept against the return of the dictator prime minister. And the student decided to mock that incident as a place. But one of the writing papers doctoring the picture to make the face of one of the students in the place to look like similar to the Southeast at that time, who is the presidency at that time. So that picture made many people, especially the writing people, they decided to form into the university where students would come, and then the master took place. These two incidents, if I'm not recall wrong, I never studied during my high school. And that was something that I feel that it should not be the case, especially for these two countries. So this is one of the sample of the textbook that written about the more recent story. This textbook, History of the Thai Nation of Thai, it was written, it was published in 2015 by the Department of Fine Arts under the Ministry of Culture. You can read from the text, but in a nutshell, this particular part of the book discuss about what happened in 2014, where we had coup d'etat after the series of protests in Bangkok, and General Position was the former army chief at that time, so the coup, and then he became the Pinta under the name National Council for Peace and Order. So you could see that just a year after the coup d'etat, this is how the minister of the Department of Fine Arts written about that portion, that part of history. And you can see that, wow, for me, it's like, really? This is what are we going to do like this? And this book is available in the library, especially for the high school. You could imagine like how it's going to shape the idea and the mind of the young students. So now move to the museum. This is something that I did now. On your right side, there are two examples of the museum in Thailand. On the top one is the National Museum in Bangkok. The lower one was the National Museum in Khon Kaen, was the province in the Northeast region. So many times when we walk to this museum, most of the objects that we see is art history, basically. It's not really a story of the history in the wider aspect. It's just like focus on the art. And many of the museums in Thailand, especially the museum under the government, is all like this. So that's kind of like maybe they can say, what about this kind of event where this is our museum or like educational system, the event where people come and doing protest and all that, because for me that is part of our history. But this portion of history never been recorded by the government. There might be some private museum or institution like the Thai Labor Museum. They do mention something about the political structure. Like that's about it. So after all this that I have mentioned to you, I decided to start my own project in 2018. But before I jump into why I started my museum, so this is all I have to do today. So on the right side is the coup d'etat in 2006. That time, Thaksin Shinawatra, who just recently returned, was our prime minister. And on the left side is just the 2014 coup d'etat that I just mentioned to you. So you can see that it's just in a matter of 8 years, which for the state of the United States, you could have like two presidents. For us, 8 years, we have two coup d'etat. So if you just look on the top of the iceberg, you see the coup d'etat. But let me take you down to the rest. These all events which happened even along the line of that 8 years. So this right-hand side picture, that was the movement of the group called People Alliance for Democracy. This is one of the features that I bring along. I'll send you this pass along. So they start to protest against Chinese Thaksin. I think in sometime in 2005, and then their supporters will come like that, bigger and bigger. And the reason they use the yellow color as the color of the movement because yellow at that time was the color of the king. So the king when he was born on that day. So yellow shirt was used as his symbol color. So earlier the movement did not adopt the yellow color as a symbol. And actually in 2006, Prime Minister Thaksin himself is the one who organized the event to commemorate the king. Because that time the king was informed for 16 years. And at that time he was the longest king that was serving. So the leader of this movement believed that Thaksin is very strong. He has a strong personality. So what are the people at that time used to fight such this strong Prime Minister? So later on they decided to adopt the yellow color as a symbol of that movement. And unfortunately, there was one of the banner that they used in the protest to say something like "Rao the two we fight for the king." But unfortunately, I did not get a hand on that piece of this banner. So anyway, so this is how it starts. So because of this movement in 2005 and then 2006, it later led to the coup d'etat in 2006. Led to the coup d'etat in 2006. And immediately after the coup d'etat in 2006, there comes another movement, the Red Shirt. But at that time, it was not yet the Red Shirt. So some people who were supporters of Thaksin, of course, they feel dissatisfied with what the event that's going on. And the beloved Prime Minister was forced to out of the country. And another group of people, some of them, including myself, we criticize a lot on Thaksin. But after the coup d'etat happened, we decided to come out to protest against the coup d'etat. Because no matter what Thaksin, for good or bad, coup d'etat is not the solution. And actually, I had the picture of me like holding the banner on the booth, like just a night after the coup d'etat under the martial law. But unfortunately, I'm not able to do that. But anyway, movement to oppose the coup d'etat become bigger and bigger. And then in 2007, the junta decided, we are
to take power for too long. So we draft the new constitution and we want the people to decide whether they're gonna accept the constitution that we draft by the group of people that we appointed or not. So people start to gathering and then they did the campaign to oppose that draft constitution. And then they had adopted red color. Red as in the red traffic light, that they will oppose that constitution. So later on, the red shirt has adopted. It's initially come as the color to oppose the draft constitution that written by the military junta, but later it was adopted as like the bigger movement, and it's become known as the UDD or Nopashaw in Thai. And some among these Nopashaw supporters, they support Thaksin. But there are also some of the group that are like progressive. So if you go back in time in the protest during the 2010 or 2009 of the group of red shirts, you could have seen like that among the red shirt themselves is like there was a variety of ideology. So majority of them, or maybe like a big portion of them might pro Thaksin or support Thaksin. But there are also some activists that actually did not like Thaksin that much, but they talk about some ideology which I may not have a liberty to speak here. But anyway, so there was kind of like, even among the red shirt, there are complex. There was a complex of political ideology within that. And so this is just a sample of the t-shirt of the red shirt, and you could see that there's a small signature here. This signature was a signature of one among the three leaders of the red shirt leader. And this particular design on the t-shirt, I asked to that particular leader, and he said that he actually design have inspired from the movie cartoon, the Vietnam War movie, you know, like the soldier doing like this. And then this word, for those who could not read, I say pride or peasantry. So that time there was a, how to say, like they invent the discord that the red shirt was a peasantry and they're fighting against the amma. Which word for that in English, Tyler?
Aristocracy.
Again, thank you. Yep, so you can pass on. And the red shirt was very active, especially during 2010. I'm not going to the political event, but there was crackdown. The red shirt make a big protest in 2010, and then they were cracked down. After the crackdown in 2010, we have the election, and later on, the political parties that affiliate to Thaksin still managed to win the election. The prime minister at that time, after the election in 2011, was Ingrid Shinawatra, who is sister of Thaksin. I almost said daughter. But anyway, so Ingrid ran the country for a few years, and then at the end of during some time in 2013, they decide to adopt the bill for political amnesty bill, because many red shirt they were prosecuted during their struggle in 2010. But some of the people who oppose Thaksin and oppose red shirt, they're afraid that this amnesty bill will is nothing just to pave the way for Thaksin to come home without being prosecuted. So you have another protest on this picture on the top. This group, I don't really know the name in English because their name is like very long. But if you
People's
know,
Democratic Reform Committee.
there's something more like that. In
Yes,
Thai version, it's even more long.
There's more, but their English version, they just.
Yeah. So one of the tactics that they adopt is they call like a shutdown Bangkok. So what they did is just they basically spread in their like mass, and then they occupy a certain place, including a government house, government compound, and some of the BC junction in Thailand, business junction, and yeah, they say something like shut down Bangkok, restart Thailand. So one of their demands. So initially, this group they start their movement as to oppose the draft amnesty bill, which I mentioned earlier. And Yingluck government decided that they will retreat, they will not proceed with the law. So after the law has been presented to the Senate, and if the Senate decide not to accept that, there will be no proceed. Because in our system, if the Senate say that they will not approve this law, the lower house can again insist by have a voting. But Yingluck say that they will not proceed with this law anymore. But however, the movement was growing so big, so they have transformed themselves from the movement to oppose the draft amnesty bill to become a demand to reform before the election. Because during this crisis, during this protest in 2013, Yingluck Shinawatra decided to dissolve the parliament and set to have the election in early 2014. But what happened is that these people, some of them went to occupy the government office that used to hold the election ballot. So the election on that day cannot be proceeded in certain constituency. And at the end, the Constitutional Court ruled that this election in 2014 was unconstitutional because you did not organize the election nationwide in the same day. So yeah, please, thank you. So anyway, not to go into detail with this mess, you could see that a coup d'etat, the two-time coup d'etat, is just like a very tip of the iceberg. But without collecting material, without collecting evidence from this movement, you will not be able to really understand what's going on in that area clearly. So that's why that is something that motivated me to do this project nowadays. So my task. So in the first line, I use V bracket I. You might wonder that why. Because at that time it's just me. And right now it's still a problem to me, like how do I distinguish myself from the project that I do. I mean, with my main organization, with ILO, I can make a distinction very easy. But when it comes to this museum project, that is still some of the challenge that I have to find a solution for that. So what do I need to do, or what I believe to be my task at that time is that I need to bring in the new narrative into the study of history. One way to do that is I have to like collect the material that are used by the popular movement, and then the scholar like you can take it afterward, what to do with the evidence that I collect. And I also believe that some of the some of the movement, some of the activist group, they're doing good with like taking care of their stuff, but it may not be the case of many groups. So that's why I think that I have to step in and do this, because the activists, some of them are very busy with the campaign in their hand. So it might be very difficult for them to like pay attention to their stuff, which I believe is like some of them might be valuable, like document or evidence in the near future. But because they have a lack of resource, then they could not do it by themselves. So that's why I decided to step in to do this. So this is actually how this museum began. It was back in 2018. I went to be part of this activity called We Walk. So at that time, we are still under the rule that no political gathering of 5 people and above is allowed. but these activists say that they activist group they will say that they want to walk about 400 kilometers from Bangkok to Khon Kaen province. That time there was one of the political prisoner called his name is Pat Opai. He was detained under the less majesty in Khon Kaen province. So some of the activists decided, okay, first is the idea is like to show solidarity with this political prisoner, but then they decided not to just talk about this issue, but then they want to expand the issue that they're going to do the campaign along this walk, including demanding for the new constitution. So throughout the month-long walk has been difficult and challenged because under the law at that time they cannot walk in a larger group. So instead of like have a big group, they decide to just separate the walk. Like in one set, they will walk like 4 people on the street, and then in the next checkpoint, another 4 will take on the job and continue the march, so that it will not like kind of like against the rule of the military that no political gathering of 5 people and above is allowed at that time. So this is how they like play the trick with the repressive law at that time. But anyway, throughout the march, they face a lot of difficulty because sometimes they have to spend the night in the temple, and the local authority or some military will come to put the pressure on the temple that they should not force these activists to camp in their premises. But anyway, they managed to walk to Khon Kaen in about a month. And then I would like to draw your attention to this particular public. So after they arrive at the destination, they have this public on the ground. They have everyone who was on the march to like print their footprint with a color and then paint it on this particular piece. And I was amazed with that. And I think, okay, I want to have it. But at that time, I just started this museum project, so I was like very nabang. How to say that in English, Tyra? So I was there not to ask that I want to take this particular topic. So after the movement was finished, in just about like a week or couple weeks, I called back to the organizer, hey, I want this thing because I'm about to start a museum. And then one activist referred to another activist, and then when I call another activist, they just refer back to the same activist. So after that point, I decided, okay, next time if I saw something that I think there is a value and it should be preserved, I would just ask right away. I become like more, how do you say, nadan,
Shameless.
Yeah, I become shameless that like to ask for that, but actually there are some issue around that which I might tell you later on. So this is just a sample of my collection, mostly t-shirt. Right now, I think I process about 1,000 t-shirts in my very small office. Just to show you like a few here, which I brought from Thailand. So this, yeah, you can read it. This page, do you hear people saying was used wide and spread during the 2020 uprising? But in fact, this page was used long ago, even during the red shirt in 2010, because Ajahn Piyamut, he was like very into the French, and then I think the red shirt, some of them like they even like organized the activity to like to watch the play Les Miserables, and one of the songs that they used during the protest are actually written is like it's a translation of the original song, but this one, well, you could see what it is. First, I thought it was like a needle, but well, it's not. So just see by yourself what actually it is. So that's the t-shirt. And the banner like this, I also collect. So one of the interesting things is this. You might wonder like, why is broken English like that? Well, to make a long story short, during the time that this is a banner that they used during the traditional football between Thammasat and Chulalongkorn. And during this event, the student will have like a political satire parade. but that time was 2020. There are very high percent of police and like a plainclothes official in front of the stadium. They try to screening, okay, what the banner will be bringing. So the student was smart enough. They decided to written like a ตัวย่อครับอาจารย์เห็นไหม
Abbreviation.
Yeah, abbreviation in Thai language and the broken English language, which can be literally translated like stupid leader, we are all going to die. So they managed to bring this fabric inside the stadium, and soon after it was like unfold. It's become viral. And this abbreviation is used from time to time. If you went to the protest in 2020, you will see like both on hashtag and on the banner like that on the table. If anyone can like show the rest of the video, thank you. More and more stuff like sticker and the crap. So this is like something that I like. So like during the protest, and many times we have to clap the hand, right? And when it's come to the long protest, like sometimes they were overnight, it's gonna go to a hand to clap this. So the PAD, the yellow shirt, they start to adopt this thing. I think it's actually not politics, it's just like a toy for the kid. But after they use it was viral and it's become symbolic. It's become the hand clapping has become symbolic of the yellow shirt movement. So when it's come to the red shirt movement, what to do? I mean, like, oh, clapping is a good idea, but this guy really used the hand. So what we do? We use the foot. And unfortunately, I could not bring it, but yeah. But among this, the one that I like the most is the symbolic of the PDRC group, the ultra riding movement that have a movement during the 2013 and 14 before the coup d'etat. They use the whistle. Whether I like this group or not, I have to admire that using whistle is more efficient. Why? Because it fits into the lifestyle of the majority of many protesters. For this hand clapping and foot clapping, I mean, you have to like, it might be a bit difficult to carry, right? But for the whistle, you just like hang it on the neck. And many people who joining this protest, they are like an office worker. So they already have like their the metro card or their ID card hanging on their neck. So they just include the whistle. I thought it's fit in with your lifestyle easily. I also collect this kind of thing. So you might have some of the sample here. This is like the banner that people doing to hold during the protest. And I found out that some of them are quite creative. For example, this, you are aware of this sign, right? Yeah, when your computer or internet have a problem. So this, if you look inside closely, no democracy. And then they say like, connect democracy again. So you see that this is like a creativity that used during the protest. And I think when I walk about like these 3-4 days, no, 5 days, I have walked around Madison and I take a lot of the photo already, like the Palestine eye sticker and everything, and it's quite interesting. So this is what I do in Thailand, and maybe if for some of you who interested in the issue of the social movement, I just want to encourage you that just pay more attention on the street. There's a lot of nice collection for you. So now I'll draw your attention to some of the pieces that I found iconic. For example, this one. This particular bowl was buried under the ground for almost 30 years. If you look inside, there was a description here. It said that to eliminate communists from Thailand. So this is like propaganda ball that I think they produce in the mass number and distribute to the people. This one found in Sakonnakhon province, Isan, Northeast region, which at that time during the Cold War, the Northeast region was one of the region that the Communist Party of Thailand is quite active, and it was like a fight between the Thai army and the CPT party. So you can imagine like what this particular propaganda ball is gonna work with you when you like exactly you basically have to eat and then like read it like every day. So this one, someone tell me on Twitter like, okay, hey, there's someone found this particular ball. You might interest to like get in touch with the owner to get it. So I decided to like write a message to him, and he said, and he told me the story that I was so impressed. He said that there was some collector proposed him like more than $300 to get this in the possession. But after I tell him like what I do, he just sent me for free. And this particular ball, I have been like bring it to the October 6th memorial, the massacre that I mentioned before, every year, because I think I have the responsibility to the owner of this ball that since he gave me it for free, then I have to make the most of it to the public. You can pass it out if you like, but please be careful with it. No, it's clear. Just okay. I'll just try to make it short so you have the time to kind of like Q&A. I also collect some of the evidence of violence in Thai politics. This actually, like I had the idea when I visited the museum in New Delhi, India, and I saw that they preserved the clothes that Indira Gandhi wore on her last day when she was shot. So after there was the incident where one of activists in Thailand, he was attacked, and it is kind of also like moral question to me, like when I speak with myself that okay, the activist was hit, and this cloth, the t-shirt, the shirt that he wore is like, it has a meaning, have a historical meaning, historical value. But how do I approach like okay, a guy just been hit, and they're like, hey, you have give me your shirt? It is something that I always have to ask myself all the time, like what should I acquire? I mean, like for the particular banner like this, you can just say to the protester, hey, can I have this after you finish? It's okay, no problem. But when it's come to this kind of thing, what to do? And another example. This incident was happened in 2022 when there's a APEC meeting in Thailand, and there was a crackdown. So one of the activists was temporarily lost one of his eye. He was shot by the rubber bullet. Fortunately, for this particular two case, I am not the one who acquired by myself, but it was the activists themselves or their friend, another activist friend, like they preserved it. And after they know what I did, then they decide that this should be preserved. So it's with me now, and I was quite relieved that I don't have to like ask this from them by myself, because that is something that you have to work inside you. I don't know how to explain it in English, but I guess you understand what I try to mean. So anyway, my problem right now is with the cloth that had the blood stain, how to preserve it. That is still my problem now to figure it out. So this I also collect. This is the tear gas canister and the rubber bullet that was actively used during the 2020 movement, but they're not used by the movement. It's used by the anti-riot police in Thailand. There was the movement that we call in Thai is Thalu gas, or in English it's like through the gas. So this group of protesters, they are more like a bit more confrontation, but it also relates to the 2020 uprising, because during the 2020 uprising, the form of protest is just like they sit in one place and they have people like come and then take the stage, give a speech. So that is kind of like very peaceful. But with that peaceful, sometimes the police also apply a very lethal technique against them. For example, like they use the high water pressure cannon, they use the tear gas, so that make some of the activists start to talk among themselves, like how they're gonna deal with that. So they decide to step up their tactic. They use something like a flare. But soon after they just shoot the flare, then the police start to welcome them with the rubber bullet. So you could say how imbalance of power in that matter. And interestingly, like many of these, the one who collect for me is the protester themselves. One of the like anti-protester, like they're not like a teenager, but like anti. But they're very active and they like always confront the police and then they're yelling the police because they want to protect the younger protester. And one among these anti-protester, she's one of my major donor. So many t-shirts that I have here is come from her collection, including this rubber bullet and canister that she actually collected from the field when she went to join the protest. I'm almost finished, but well, we talk a lot about violence and things, but I think another issue that I should mention is the hope. We have many campaigns that's quite success. For example, the one T-shirt that I'm holding here, this T-shirt is also come from the 2020 era. My organization, not the museum, of course, ILO and some other NGO and activists. At that time, because like when we have the big protest in 2020, then the question is like, what is your demand? So earlier in the early stage of the protest, the demand was simple, like they want to get rid of General Prayut. But then we try to think beyond that we should have some concrete proposal. So we decided that we want to use the channel under the constitution. We say that the people, the voter, can initiate the constitution amendment by gathering petition of at least 50,000 voters. So we do that during the protest. And at that time, it was a paper-based required by law. So basically, you cannot sign online. You can only do on the paper. But many people was get on the queue during the protest just to sign their name. So at the end, we take like just about 45 days to finish. We have like 100,000, more than 100,000 voters signed the petition with us to propose the draft constitution. And that time it was successful because we managed to have the constitution, draft constitution that actually initiated by the people, bring into the parliament and has been discussed. Of course, it was voted to reject. The draft was rejected, but that for us is like one of the success moments. And this is actually my own T-shirt I wear during that campaign. So you can see that it's quite dirty because sometimes I have to like standing under the heat. At that time, I was assigned to be a queue organizer. So I had to yell into the people and like, queue here, like that. And it was like a hectic time and like a campaign that we put a lot of effort on that. So even at the end, the draft constitution to be proposed was, but for us, this is a step forward. And actually, this is the first time that the constitution proposed by the people has been put on the table in the parliament and discussed formally. So for us, it's a big step. And after what we accomplished in 2020, there are many attempts by the voter like us to gather the signature to propose the draft constitution. What I hope is that one day, the draft that we people propose will be actually considered and passed to be used as the law. Maybe this might be like the last point that I want to make is that, do you think this particular banner is like value? No, right? It's just the A4 paper. But for those of you who can read Thai, and please bear with me. This banner is written, if the politics is good, my mother could have the dishwasher long ago. So the context behind this is what? During the protest, a big protest in 2020, there was one of the politicians make a comment on Twitter saying that this kid, they are very keen to come to protest, but no one wants to help their mom clean the dish. It means that if you're a student, you just like help your mother doing homework, pay attention to your study, and don't mind with the politics because it has nothing to do with you. But the way this message is said that there was a shift in the mindset of the people, of especially the youngster, that they start to think that politics is matter to them, and they should have to take on that, because without the good political structure, their life will never be better. They could not dream about the better education system. They could not dream about healthcare or welfare system, because every of that is a policy, and policy is definitely related to politics. So in the sense that in the mindset of the youngster, of the protester at that time, they changed the mindset, because for example, like me, during my student time, I was just running around. I don't care about politics. I don't know how the politics is gonna affect my life, but that has been changed, and just it's actually telling you a lot that there was a change. And when I saw this, because this picture I take by myself, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to get that things. And you may ask, well, you have the picture, why bothering collecting this? This, I think, how to say, it's about the experience. So if I just show you the picture without this, and you imagine, like, if you just see the picture, well, it's just a picture. But when you actually see something like this, I think it will help you make a better experience for you. Okay. Yeah. Just like another reason why I do is I try to make some story to be remembered. So this statue is a person, a taxi driver. In 2006, after the coup d'etat, he protested the coup d'etat by drove his taxi to crash with one of the tanks that parked in Bangkok. And he also have the letter to his car saying that, okay, why explain the reason why he committed such an act. And then he was survived from the crash. He was hospitalized, and then there was one military general at that time saying that no one is actually willing to sacrifice themselves for political ideology. So after he has been discharged from the hospital, he went to one of the major Thai newspaper office. In front of that, there was a flyover. He hung himself. And right now, his story has become told by many political activists. So I have this statue, and every year when on the day that we commemorate him, I always bring this statue to the place where he lost his life. And this is so anyone, if you aware with issue of the coup d'etat protest in Myanmar, you might have aware of this lady, right? She's one of the activists who shot to kill. And one of the activists in Thailand made this sticker. It's like a replica of her t-shirt just to commemorate. So this is one thing why I do. I want to keep the story. I want to keep the story of them alive. Yeah, this is just a digital collection, and I also do this, as I told you, like graffiti and things, because I also consider it as a collection. Even though I cannot just like tear the wall down and this. This is quite straightforward. This is actually in front of my office, but I didn't do it. I'm the collector, so I would feel that, okay, it would be like against the principle that I do it myself, right? Anyway, so this is the lèse majesté law, like the law against the law that for anyone who insult or no, sorry, anyone who defame, insult, or threatening against the king, the queen, the heir apparent, and the regent will be in prison for 3 up to 15 years for each action. So the one of the issue that was happened after the 2020 movement is that many people start to voice about the demand for monarchy reform and to do something about this less majority law. So you could see the emotion of the people who create this, and it's quite straightforward in English. And last but not least, this is also something that I collect. Since 2020, there was a lot of political prisoners because many of people has expressed their ideology or opinion to the king, and sometimes it's a criticism in both ways. Like for example, like some might criticism in principle, but there is also some case that they use like a rude language. But anyway, like there are more than 200 people has been prosecuted with this under this law after the 2020, and some of them are in prison. So one thing that I start to collect now is a note or letter that has been sent in and out from the political prisoner. The piece that you have here is from one of the lawyer, human rights lawyer Anon. Some of you might be aware of him. He was the lawyer that defend many political cases, but the reason why he's ended up in jail now because in one of the protests in 2020, he decided that it is a time that the issue regarding monarchy must be addressed formally, not just like Minha, how you call that, right?
Gossiping.
Yeah, instead of gossiping, it should be discussed like seriously and criticism in a good way. But then again, ending up in jail. So right now he's still in prison. So this is like one of the notes that he wrote when he's in the courtroom before he was taken to the prison. Well, this is like just backdoor, like behind the scene. This picture I take it after we moved the office, and it's kind of like I have to figure out like, okay, I have like at that time maybe like 700 or 800 t-shirts, a lot of banners, a lot of political posters. What to do with that? And at that time I was alone because at that time I did not have a full-time staff to work with me. Currently I just have like one more staff to work with me. So anytime when we have to like do the exhibition, my office is always like this. But I try to improve that, and especially after many lessons that I learned from the archivists on the campus and at the historical society. So this is like the first of my exhibition. I'll go like faster. As I mentioned, that I started this project as my own expense. It was not iLaw project that properly funded until a couple of years ago. So you see that it's like, you know, just whatever I can do, like just one rope, and then we just hung it behind between the tree. At that time, I think I have like less than 500 t-shirts, about like a couple hundred, but it's grow up year by year, and I have to rethink like, okay, what should I take? What should I collect? What should I not? Because if I not do that, at the end of the day, my office will be like full with all the stuff, and even I don't have the space to work. Anyway, and that is how the evolution of my stuff, of the museum, and how exhibition has been organized in a better way because I have like funding. Yeah, and this is service we do. And some of you might interest to use my service. You're welcome to do so. I try to make things available online as much as possible. So if any of you working on issues surrounding Thailand, you're welcome to contact me at any given time. What I try to do next is that like one of the lesson I learned here is that preservation is extremely expensive. And with my present condition, the object that I collect might not last 20-30 years. Maybe not. So I have to like seek for more funding, and I'll try to improve the way I handling things. So yeah. So if any of you, as I say, like if any of you, I will give this slide to Tyra, no problem. If any of you want to use my service, for example, like if you work on dissertation or something that you need like a letter of political prisoner, or if you want like want to see more political banner to use in your work, or even use the photo for your essay, you're welcome to contact me. And if you have further things, then we can discuss later on.